Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Reset, Maurizio, and here I'm trying to talk about personal finance, how I approach it. 2 years ago, I had to reset my life. I was heavily helped by Mr. Rip, and what I'm trying here is to summarize what have been my learning point, and based on that, what I'm doing today to keep all my personal finance items in order, or at least in the right level of order that works for me. First of all, what are the thinking processes? What I realized, for me, it's important to keep always everything based on three key pillars. I'm talking about the net worth, so whatever we own, assets, liability, and so on. The cash flow, what happens monthly, and the budget with all the accruals and the zero-based budget. That is the things that I've seen it's better working for me and for my approach. Of course, everywhere you can find very good resources on what it means, each of these group, what is the best way to track it or whatever. This is how I try to organize things, and in particular the right balance between details, level of usage or so on, something that it's keeping me busy but not that much. So that's how I developed it. First of all, I think it's important to identify and understand what is the difference for between each of these pillars. First of all, what are the metrics? So net worth, what we're measuring is how much I own. So all my assets, houses, bank account, trading account, whatever, and the liabilities, mortgage, debt, credit card balance, and so on. While in the cash flow, we are basically checking what is our lifestyle. This is really how much is entering and leaving our bank account monthly. So it's really reflecting our lifestyle. While when we talk about budget, this is really the phase where you have to put all kind of inputs, medium, long, and short term, and we will see later on with more details also what are the implications in the monthly cash flow. In particular, I'm referring to the need to do accruals for long-term expenses. While these things are changing month by month, what are the things that we are tracking? Of course, when we are talking about net worth, what you are tracking is if you're getting richer or poorer. It's really going up or down. And this is regarding the single snapshot of the net worth. When we're talking about the cash flow, once you identified it, once you work to prepare it, every month you can really check what is your level of realism. So when you did the exercise, this was really reflecting your status, or your level of discipline. Once you took some decisions, you find what is your level of expenses or so on, how good is your discipline to follow it and to stay on track. The budget, for me, that is something that it's checked periodically. It's really telling me my level of awareness regarding my life. I'm really considering everything. If every quarter I realize that I'm missing so much, it's because I was not checking it, I was not aware of something, or I was ignoring something because maybe it was worthy in that moment to do it. And if I take an analogy to better explain the differences, so if we're talking about our life, basically the net worth is our health. It's increasing or is getting worse. This is based on our lifestyle, what we do monthly. So exercising, our diet, whatever our decisions are day by day. And the budget, I will consider it as the level of wisdom, no? Because at the end of the day, it's up to us what we put in our lifestyle. If I am turning 60, 17, okay, maybe in theory the perfect lifestyle has a lot of sport, but it's also my wisdom based on my condition or so on to calibrate in the right way what is in the lifestyle and what is not there, in particular projecting in the long term. What is the worst case scenario? What happens when you don't do this exercise in the proper way? It's really when it's just YOLO. You only live once, so you don't care. You think you priority is just enjoying things, and then the budget is not considering a lot of things. Or something that I see often, it's poor with high lifestyle. So you can earn whatever you want, but if you spend everything or $1 more, you are poor with a very nice, cool lifestyle that it's not necessarily the most sustainable way to do things. Also because this means that later on, quite likely, when you are in the weakest position in your life, you have, I don't know, you lost your job, or you are old, or you need to be to live on your pension or whatever, this is the moment where you will be completely dependent on the consequence of your decisions earlier in your life, or on people and structures that are there to help you. And that's absolutely the wrong vicious circle you can fall easily in. This is made, these three pillars, they interact through two different flows. One is tracking, one is planning. Tracking is really net worth at the end of the month. It will take 30 minutes after the first time, just checking figures, updating them, and it's fine. While on the cash flow, depending on how you approach it, every day you track your expenses, you do some monthly check calculation, and in the normal life, the budget is something that you just check to see if it's congruent with what you are doing and what you are living. As planning point of view, it goes exactly the other way around. For me, you need to start from budget, listing everything, and we will see later on what it means. Then, while planning and designing your cash flow, you really need to find a balance that is sustainable for your life. You cannot sacrifice too much if it's suffering. If you're suffering too much, you cannot say no to whatever makes you happy just because in X years you will have 10,000 more in your bank account or so on. So that's where you need to take a couple of decisions. And the importance of the net worth is that you need to visualize in the long term, 5-10 years, what will be the consequences of the previous decisions or so on. So this is the flow of tracking versus the flow of planning. I would say that in my experience, this is the most critical part, the budget. It's really where if you get it wrong, all others will be somehow fake, because it will be just this mistake that it's showing up in other pillars. Then what is the big picture? How these things they work, how they interact? As mentioned, for me, the key element is starting from the budget. Budget is where you put, as we said, all your inputs. You will measure it as expected euro, dollar, whatever is your currency per month. And the main input here are the situations in your life, the kind of city you live in, if you live with your family, if you are alone, if there are some medical expenses you cannot avoid, or so on. These are situations. And then there are the decisions. It's up to you what kind of car you will drive, what kind of holidays you will take, how much you will spend in your gadget, hobbies, and so on. It's really everything up to you. Then this budget will define what is the cash flow, because based on the previous decisions, you will find out month by month what's happening in your bank account. So let's wait. Okay, so every month cash flow, it's up to you what you decide to have as cash flow, and that's where income, expenses will be your metrics, and either you check it as dollar per month, or it could be just a yes no if you decide to go for a simplified version, so you stay on track or not based on your planning. This, of course, will modify your net worth depending if your income is higher than your expenses. Of course, you will start accumulating. Then there are, of course, all the investments or so on. But your net worth, that is basically assets, liability, everything tracked, hoping that the slope is in the right direction, it will tell you across months and years how your net worth is going on. As I mentioned, this is for me a circle, because basically also based on your net worth, what is today and what you want for it in the future, this will be one of the key input in your budget, because if you say, I want to grow my net worth in 5-10 years, of course you need to take decisions in your budget to ensure that your cash flow will modify in the right direction. And that's where all these things are interacting. So that's why I don't believe in a simple tracking methodology for the cash flow, or just checking that everything stays. These are three legs for a table, and unless you have all of them working in the right way, there will be always something missing, and that's very, very dangerous in my experience. So that's where I try to summarize all my thinking point. I will start with some deep dive, particularly on the budget, where I really think that the add value is, in particular when I decided to move to the zero-based budget approach, that it's an excellent way to process your personal finance or so on. That's for now, and let's check it next time. Thanks.